Hello everyone. And one of the downsides to being towards the end of an educational conference is you see about 6 different ways to do it better. But I have learned something important. Please don't tweet my slides, or fictional characters and their creators are going to come and murder me. Okay? Thanks. So there's a clicker somewhere, isn't there?
It's in Chris's hand at the moment.
Oh, okay. This is going really well.
Sure, I've got one.
Sorry, there's a cursor I can use. So yeah, my name's Gareth. I am a paediatric emergency consultant at Leicester. Okay, I'll carry on. And I was asked to come and talk to you about an educational M&M meeting that we run in Leicester. Oh, it was not so long. Big deal. So, by way of introduction, in 2013 I completed a paediatric emergency medicine fellowship in sunny, beautiful, wonderful Sydney, where I was responsible for education, including M&M. So then towards the end of 2013, I took up a consultant post in Leicester. It's pretty much the same, as you can see. Many similarities. Okay? Now, while I'd actually trained in Leicester, and while I'd been away, the guys in the team had quite a difficult year. So they'd gone through the worst winter ever, trademark, little did we know. And actually, from a resilience and a morale perspective, people are taking a real battering. Now, we have an education team, and the education team have done a phenomenal job at keeping high-quality education going during those difficult circumstances. But when I come back, I noticed that we've become quite siloed, in the sense that everybody was getting what they needed for their curriculums, but they weren't really meeting anywhere. There was no multidisciplinary team education, which was something that I'd really taken on board through Sydney. We did do M&M in Leicester 3 times a year in conjunction with the Children's Hospital. So at best, we would look at 3 big SIs or 3 really horrible deaths with the Children's Hospital, not unlike this kind of scenario. So it was often quite confrontational, highly critical, very dry, and almost exclusively attended by senior medical personnel. You could feel quite remote if you did attend, and your learning points were either, I'm really glad that wasn't me, or I wouldn't have done that. No, definitely not. Meanwhile, the real education, the real feedback was going on here. This is until 3 weeks' time, our front door. Yay. On any given shift, you'd walk in here, and either a colleague, or a visitor from another department, or a phone call would utter the immortal words, "Did you hear about that kid?" So you all immediately feel like I do, tingling. Uh-oh, where's this guy? "Did you hear about the kid on Tuesday?" "Yeah, you know, wheezy kid, yeah, he was fine, absolutely fine. Went upstairs, collapsed, head fell off, exploded." Yeah, just, you know, but they saved him, they got him to CICU, and they're going to do a daytix, just to let you know. Okay? Added palpitations? "Did you hear about that kid you saw?" Oh, wow. But at the same time, almost in the same breath, "Do you hear about that kid? Do you remember that kid you saw, the other day? You were really worried something serious was going on. Remember you chewed my ear off on the phone to sell the referral? Yeah, I sent him home in an hour, tonsillitis. Did you even look in the throat?" Yeah, so it was easy to feel a bit like Goldilocks, constantly looking for that feedback that you got it just right, instead of too sick, or not sick enough. Going into the next winter, in my first year as a consultant, kind of felt like Wreck-It Ralph. It's kind of hard to love your job when no one seems to like you for doing it. But I was a huge fan of the learning from excellence model. A couple of guys, including Adrian Plunkett in Birmingham. See, look at that presentation error, you can't actually see the website address. So these guys, big pushers of positive learning. So learning from excellence is about capturing positive incidents, something called affirmative inquiry, like a reverse SUI, looking at when things went well, capturing that data through reporting and sharing it. And I'd seen in Sydney firsthand how positive feedback, multidisciplinary learning, raised morale and improved learning. And I was reading increasingly at the time of other centres doing awesome and amazing A&A type meetings to complement their M&M type meetings. So I started thinking, well, how can I bring that back to my department? Because I think we really, really need it. And then one busy shift, not too long after I was thinking that, we had another phone call, and another child that we thought was sick went upstairs, and it turned out they were sick. And they were doing a daytix about that. And the team really took that personally. And being a positive person, I was trying to make them feel better. I was saying, come on, children deteriorate. We thought they were sick, we admitted them, we didn't discharge them home. What's the problem? And by the way, how many times do you think we get it right? How many children do you think we see? How many children do you think we put on ITU successfully? And then it hit me, they didn't know. They had absolutely no idea. My team had no context. They didn't know their activity, how many children they saw, how many children went to ITU. And so for a department that sees 40,000 or 43,000 children now, with all of that kind of rich illness and injury pathology, we were looking at maybe 3 or 4 deaths or SUIs a year. All other feedback was coming from other channels and was seldom positive. So that got us thinking, a group of us, consultants and juniors, how can we set up a new forum whereby we'll deliver team education, but we'll anchor it to our activity. We'll absolutely look at incidents and adverse events, and we'll look at M&M, but we're going to throw in some A&A. We're never going to be judgmental or personal, and we're going to highlight the good work that we do. We're going to identify and learn from what went well as what didn't go so well. And we do it in a nice, open, learning environment, totally informal. Probably involving cake. Definitely involving cake. Cake's a good idea. So we needed data, and having done the Sydney M&M, I had a good idea of how to get hold of data and the sorts of things that would be useful to get. So we wanted crude activity data, so admissions, where they ended up, disposition and things. But then we wanted subsets, kind of patients, that would give us an idea, so that we're likely to generate positive learning. So obviously, arrest, cause and deaths, there is positive in that, depending on how you deliver and how you learn. Admissions, HQ admissions, that sort of thing. Now, we've been using electronic patient records in EDs in the UK for over a decade. We've been putting all that data in. It shouldn't be too hard to get it out, should it? And the IT guys were surprisingly helpful. And within a couple of months, we actually started getting a monthly data set from them of our activity with some identifiers, so that we could go through the notes and maybe set up some kind of educational meeting. And with that, the PEDS ED Critical Care Forum was born. The name makes absolutely no sense. I don't know why it's called that, but it's called that. Okay. So the first 3 were just myself and Damien Rowland in a room with a laptop, just practicing. Probably looked quite strange. But once we were happy that we got data reliable and we got the format about right, we were ready to go live. So we picked a time, a natural time where we thought we could maximize attendance, and we sent out some invites. We were still pretty nervous, to be fair, that nobody was going to turn up. But then we remembered cake. And it was fine. And so, it's a game of 2 halves. First bit, data, okay? And now I've been on the data and the infographic workshops today, so this is all going to be way better. But generally speaking, we anchor the session on our activity. So we talk around a graphic that shows, roughly speaking, what happened, and we provide context for our department and for the guys and girls who are working there, so that they understand the meaning of the things that went well and didn't go so well. Still playing around with some kind of dashboard that shows our events and our acuity. Can't seem to get that right, but again, got food for thought for today. The second half, we learn through stories. We tell stories. We take 2 or 3 of those cases, and increasingly we take cases that people have flagged. So that don't fit in any of those groups, but they're felt to be of educational benefit to someone in the team or someone outside the team just wants us to look through a case positively. And we present them very simply, sort of frame by frame, stop, start, ask questions, encourage people to share, and we go through them. And on the second Tuesday of every month for the last 3 years, we've got together and we learned. We changed the name again. Oh, that's got weird. That's keynote for you. Well, it's the Critically Careful Forum now, because we weren't really talking about much critical care. It still doesn't make any sense. But we gather together around a campfire, metaphorically speaking, and we've achieved an open learning environment with a completely flat hierarchy. So the most junior and most senior members of staff can ask questions, they can share their stories, and we all learn together. At best, we've had 30 people. At worst, we have 3. About 60% nurses, 20% medics, 10% play specialists, 10% HCAs. It's open to everyone. Sometimes we specifically invite people, depending on the case. There's PICU, come down to join us. And thereafter, once we've wrapped it up, we send the slide set, once we've finished with it, to every member of staff. We carry on the learning and the discussions by email. The applications continue to grow. We start to throw in a bit of governance, a bit of quality improvement, a bit of debriefing, depending on the scenario. Through it, we've developed our own positive reporting tool, the Gratix, which is our antidote to our Datex system. We share the learning and the themes. And as things have got tougher, we've got a little bit more blatant about having some kind of emotional check-in. So, usually midwinter, we just check that people are okay. Everybody's doing okay. So, we're pretty adamant that we have some A&A in with our M&M. The balance can be difficult. It certainly shifts from one month to the next depending on what's going on. But where there's M&M, there's always A&A. And there's never MMA. That's bad. So they're the rules. But it's a really tough scenario, a really tough meeting to prepare for. It's totally unpredictable. So we can go into it with some vague learning that we think we're going to partake, but the audience takes us on a completely different journey. Either way, every month, we learn and we share. The difficult thing here, though, is planning it. You can get a really tough crowd that don't want to share, and you feel like you're doing all the talking, like now. Or you can get a really easy crowd or a really passionate crowd, and you can barely get through one of the cases. It's unpredictable, but that's okay. Some of the people come in from home, and because of childcare, have to bring their children. So how do you prepare sensitive, or gory, or traumatic images? You have to be imaginative, and you have to be prepared. But it's worth it. The benefits are worth it compared to the drawbacks. For example, the learning culture in our paediatric ED has completely changed. People own their activity, they understand their activity, they know their successes so much better, and are therefore able to put their negatives in context. And you can see that in the department. It's transformation. We also have a growing repository of educational cases for pretty much any scenario, if invited to talk. Team communication, team behaviours, team cohesion and resilience is better, partly because we've flattened our hierarchy and people aren't afraid to talk to each other. And those traditional barriers that we had to multidisciplinary learning have crumbled. For me, the biggest benefit is repeatedly hearing the phrase, because of. So I speak to juniors, I speak to nurses, and they tell me, because of the forum, I thought of this in this scenario. Because of that case you discussed in the forum, I was prepared for this scenario. And I guess ultimately we're doing something right, because I stopped bringing cake months ago, and they're still coming. Thank you.